Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl Aisha, founder and CEO of Bossy Cosmetics. Super excited to have a Bossy chat with the Dorian Morris of Undefined. Ooh, let me just pin this comment in. Hi. Very excited to have this chat. Pin comment, view request. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is always like the moment of getting ready. Um,
Hello.
Hi. Okay, can you hear me well?
I can. Can you hear me? I have my
I can
AirPods
hear
in.
you. I'm going to put my AirPods on as well.
Can you hear me?
I can. So I think we
All
froze for a
right.
second. Was that on my end?
Yeah, I think we did, but we're back together now.
Okay. We've returned. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Dorian. Okay, so I'm so excited to meet you.
Me
This is
too.
like these bossy chats for me are like my fangirl moments. I invite people to come talk, but I'm like, really? I just want to meet really amazing women. And so this is an exciting opportunity for me to meet just women who are amazing in business, doing really amazing things, and are just awesome human beings. So
Oh, that
I'm
warms
going to
my
let
heart.
you, yes, welcome Dorian Morris of Undefined. I really would love you to introduce yourself, and then we'll just crack into like the hows, the whys, the whats, the whens, and all that fun stuff. So welcome to
Perfect.
Bossy Chats.
Thank you. I'm so excited that you're having me here on this lovely Friday. So I'm Dorian Morris, founder and CEO of Undefined, which is clean, conscious, inclusive plant magic. My mission is really to democratize beauty and wellness and demystify some really cool plant-based solutions like adaptogens, but do so in a way that feels really fresh, unapologetic, unfiltered, because those are all things that I, Dorian, stand for. So I am the Undefined Muse. I live and breathe Undefined.
I love
Um,
it.
and I've been in business since 2018, like the
Okay.
end of 2018. So I'm a couple years in. I've definitely made some shifts, some pivots. So it's been a fun entrepreneurial journey. But I am a currently self-funded entrepreneur. So it's definitely been interesting, which we can talk about. And I
Yes.
just launched with some really amazing retail partners. So it's going to be a really busy year for Undefined, but I'm here for it. I'm excited.
So, okay, fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that quick intro. So much to go through. And I'm going to ask you a ton of questions. And really, what we use these bossy chats for is not only just to introduce really amazing women to our community, but just what are the keys to success? What are the mistakes that you've made? Because I hate always talking about the good, 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 and not focusing on the fact that mistakes happen, failures happen, and all of those things
But
propel you
there's
to more
no such
success.
things as mistakes, right? They're just redirections. It's
Well,
all
that's
about
it,
learning.
right? Rejection is definitely redirection. So let's start. Okay, so 2018, you start Undefined. Tell me how you even came up with this idea. Why
Yeah.
Undefined? Why skincare? Why plant focused skincare? How did this come about? Let's start from the root of
Well, if we're going to go to the beginning of time, we got to go back a
this.
couple chapters. So, without telling you my whole life story, because we only have limited time, UCLA undergrad. So, did all of my internships in advertising. So, I thought
Okay.
that's where I was going to actually start my career in media planning and thinking about how to take these big stories and bring them to the right audiences. But then I realized that advertising paid no money. So I shifted and decided to go into retail. So I started at this executive training program at a department store chain called Robinson's May, which is based
Okay.
here in North Hollywood in Los Angeles. 6 months in, Macy's acquired May Company. So I then
Okay.
shifted with the Macy's business, did that for a couple of years before going to Harvard Business School, which I know we have that in common.
Yes.
Yay, go HBS. Then I went to General Mills after I graduated. So really focusing on, solving these problems within the landscape of food, which food and beauty actually have a lot of similarities and
Oh yeah.
parallels. And
Oh yeah.
within those, the time I spent there, I got exposed to a lot of really interesting brands at very different points within their brand evolution. And General Mills is a company that's very focused on leadership. So not to make this into like a little promo for General Mills, but they hold a very special place in my heart. Then I went to Kendo, which was a division of Sephora.
Ah,
So I
yes.
was an early employee there, really building, on these white space concepts to launch within Sephora. And then after that, I went to Sundial Brands, makers of Shea Moisture, and was
Yes.
leading an initiative that launched within Sephora. And then I did a quick stint at CoverGirl Cosmetics when Cody had acquired it from P&G, and then decided, you know what? I've built brands for other people. It was time for me to build one for myself. So that's when I started working on the ideation around Undefined.
I love
And
this.
for
I
me,
love
it was
this.
really about taking a very different approach. And really having the courage to do things differently. And so when I launched in 2018, I was focused on the benefits of CBD. So
Okay.
the cannabis plant has all of these amazing cannabinoids. And this is right when people were starting to recognize the benefits of these plant solutions through the cannabis plant. So I did that for a couple of years. I also had a retail platform called Undefined Collective that was focused on conscious capitalism. So all of the brands
I
within the collective
love.
were female founded, minority owned, LGBTQ, CBD, or local to the Bay Area. It was in Oakland.
Okay.
And that actually has now morphed as with COVID, retail became a little weird, couldn't really launch the retail space. So I let that concept go. But the conscious capitalism mindset and ideology is something that's still part of the brand, which means now across my supply chain, so from my warehouse to my manufacturers to those that I engage PR. I think we share an amazing PR team.
We
So it's
do.
all about amplifying these communities of like-minded conscious businesses that historically have been left out of the conversation. And so I've been able to kind of shift that concept. And then last year, I made the conscious decision to create a new collection called the R&R collection. So that was my first
Which is
foray outside
gorgeous,
of
by the
CBD.
way.
Thank you. It's really about inclusivity in action. So I have diverse illustrations on the package that tie back to either the ingredient story or the end benefit. So everything is very intentional. And the way that I think about product development, it's a clinical approach. So it's taking this ancient plant wisdom that Mother Nature has blessed us with, and I pair it with known clinically proven actives. So that way you're not compromising on performance. You're just doing it in a plant forward way and tapping into some of this plant wisdom that honestly, what's old is new again. A lot of these ingredients have their
I love that.
heritage
What's
in,
old is new again.
yes, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, ancient African beauty secrets. So it's basically bringing all of these to the forefront and helping you tackle modern day stress, because that's what adaptogens do. They basically will adapt to what we individually need. So like how ashwagandha, as an example, would interact with me is going to be very different than how ashwagandha interacts with you. So yeah, this new collection, R&R collection, and R&R is not rest and relaxation. It's actually an active way of saying rescue, repair, reset, and replenish your skin barrier.
So say that again. Rescue, repair, reset, and replenish.
Your skin barrier, because everything starts at your skin barrier. So it's really, elevating skin health and doing so in a way that is accessibly priced. So everything's priced under $30, because I believe that economic inclusivity is also very important, as well as just information inclusivity. So I do hopefully a really, really good job on my packaging of telling the story about the benefits of some of these beautiful ingredients. So even if, they pick up the box at, I don't know, Target, and they don't end up putting it in their basket and walking away with it, they still could have left learning something about kind of this plant magic. So that's my goal. Fingers crossed.
So there's so much in here that I want to ask you about. Amazing, amazing, amazing. In really a short amount of time. This has only been 4 years. And you kind of started with this conscious capitalism collective and pivoted during the pandemic. And my question was, I was going to ask you, how did the pandemic affect your supply chain? Because I can tell a whole story about supply chain issues during the pandemic, but what was it about the pandemic that made you sort of pivot from creating a platform or curating different brands to actually, I'm going to deep dive into my own brand because we have a story and we can create our own products? What was that thing that told you to do that?
The collective was super opportunistic. I will be very transparent. A friend from undergrad had a retail store in Oakland that was very well positioned in a very busy area. She also had a beauty brand. She wanted to focus on her beauty brand. And I was like, oh, I need to educate around the benefits of CBD. Let me take this store, and that will be my home base and my platform to really amplify the educational element, which is important for CBD. But I also realized that at that point, I only had 2 products, and I wasn't going to build out a whole store for 2 products. So light bulb moment was, I recognize the challenges as a solo indie brand founder, and 1 + 1 = 5 when small brands come together. So I enlisted other brands across the space that, met my conscious mindset, and we all went in together. So it really was a labor of amplifying each other. We would do events together. So it allowed us to actually peacock and seem like we're bigger than we really are, because it was sharing the resources. And so it really was, you know, through the mindset of we can all win if we work together. And I moved to LA and was going to recreate that concept in downtown LA. I did it. I built it out, and then COVID happened. So I couldn't actually open up the retail element.
Oh my word.
So, you know,
but you know what?
For a reason, though.
I was about to say, everything, there is a silver lining, literally. There are multiple silver linings to every cloud. And as we said earlier, rejection is redirection. So let's talk about now. So what I love about the R&R collection is how it's almost giving in a way. It's very descriptive. So you see it, first of all, it's very eye-catching. I love the colors. It's like you've got blues and grays and just really pops off of the shelf. I want to talk about the shelf next. Mm-hmm. And I love that when I say giving, I mean about educating people, right? So what was it about CBD that made you decide this is what I want to focus on, right? Because historically there have been, you know, a lot of negative assumptions around CBD, particularly in the Black community, right? So why did you say, actually, no, we want to demystify some of these. I want to talk to you about the benefits of not just CBD, but other plant magic, as you say. What was it that made you feel so passionate about it?
Yeah, so as I was thinking about what I wanted to do to bring Undefined to life, because it was just a concept. It wasn't like product development yet. I had a chance encounter, but remember, everything happens for a reason. The spider web of life, with a friend / sorority sister / I guess we were former colleagues. We interned together at J&J, and she left her corporate job. She went to, J&J. She went to Target and then was working in kind of the retail space. She basically left her job and launched this platform focused on cannabis. So she became the cannabis connoisseur. And we were having a conversation one day, and she was like, you know what, you should think about CBD as an ingredient topically, because there hadn't been very many brands at that point, this is 2018, that have explored the topical benefits. And so I was like, well, what is CBD? Because it wasn't a known thing.
Starting from the beginning.
So I did my research, and I recognized, wow, there is some amazing benefits that this ingredient can do, and there's not really anyone that's talking to it in a way that feels really, you know, inclusive in information. It was all very scientific, or on the flip side, it was like crunchy granola, something you'd find like in an apothecary. And I felt that there was an opportunity to really bring forward something that was elevated and, you know, beautiful, and something you would see displayed on your, you know, your mantle in your bathroom, but also accessibly priced. And so at that point, CBD was the most expensive ingredient I've ever seen in my life. And I've worked across, you know, the space. So I had to work really hard to make sure that everything is priced under $50, but also doing the right thing from a supply chain and just my supplier set to amplify them, pay them for what
of course, right? You got to pay them. You have to pay yourself so that you can continue to do the work.
Black farms. So like most of the product, exception of one, was working with a Black distributor that amplified farms on the East Coast. And so it made sense. And so when I launched the brand, I will say there had to be a lot of education around CBD. I still think it's something that can be misunderstood, but there is so much amazing plant magic out there that I believe in the power of plants. I'm over here going to be a plant magician, because in addition to CBD, you know, within the cannabis plant, there's also THC, which that's the legally regulated element of the plant, but it can do some amazing things. Also discovered the power of adaptogen in mushrooms as I was developing some CBD chocolates. So I had engaged a cannabis chocolatier at the Bay Area, this amazing woman named Lulu's Chocolates. Shout out to Lulu's Chocolates.
Hi, Lulu.
So we were in her kitchen, like literally in her kitchen, mixing up recipes with the CBD plus all of these mushrooms and powders and potions that I had procured.
Wow.
And then realized that we were done with like maybe 5 different prototypes. I was like, let's do it without the CBD and see what happens. And it ended up being amazing. And it was still as powerful because there's a lot of plants out there that can mimic a lot of similar things that CBD does without all the regulatory hassle and cost structure that CBD unfortunately has. So that was kind of the small light bulb moment. So I launched R&R bars. So that was the first foray.
I saw that.
CBD. Yes. And they are delicious. They're like a multivitamin in the form of a delicious chocolate.
Awesome. Awesome. So quick one. There's a question from Jordan here. It says, Dorian, how have you personally seen the benefits of CBD in your wellness beauty routine? Great question.
Yeah, so CBD as an ingredient, it basically allows your skin to reach homeostasis, so balance. And so it's great if you have an irritated skin barrier. It's also super antioxidant rich. So as you think about, the conversations around other antioxidants like vitamin C, it can, or vitamin E, it can do a lot of amazing things that can mimic that.
So we have vitamin E in our lipsticks. I love vitamin E exactly for that antioxidant property. And with lipsticks, you're always kind of rubbing it off. So you really want to put something on there that's protective of the skin barrier. Didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to support your point around antioxidants.
Yeah, so then ingestibly, you're going to get some other benefits. So CBD interacts with your endocannabinoid system. And so also providing balance. So a lot of times people will feel relaxed, helps with anxiety. Sleep is another amazing reason. Also for pain, because there's different receptors that the plant interacts with. And so there is some pain relief benefits as well. So yeah, it's both topical and ingestible.
I love it. So let's talk a little bit about retail, because it's still a very young brand. And when I was doing kind of my research on, the types of questions that I wanted to ask you, I saw you were just on HSN. Was it day before yesterday? Yeah.
Wednesday morning at the crack of dawn.
I saw that, 7 a.m. Woohoo! Congratulations
so definitely an early start.
That.
Thank you.
So home shopping, and then you're also in major retailers, right? Like tell me how that process has been for you, because a lot of our Bossy chats we have predominantly spoken to women who are bootstrapping their brands. And we'll talk a little bit about raising capital later. But given the fact that you have not raised external funding, to go from kind of selling D2C on your website to now major customers like Target, how do you do that?
Yeah, so as I was thinking about just how I wanted to approach the business, it was important to me to be omni-channel. But unfortunately, with CBD, a lot of retailers cannot take it because there's still a gray area from a regulatory landscape. And there's hurdles, and still to this day, we're now, 4 or 5 years in of the Farm Bill legalizing CBD. There's things that impact the business, like credit processing.
Yeah.
Which is a big one, which I struggled with for a long time. And so a lot of retailers just can't touch it. And so I would meet people at events. They're like, we love what you're doing. We love you. We just can't take CBD. And so again, as I was thinking about my expansion strategy, once I launched outside of the category, it unlocked a lot of opportunities for relationships that had been built over time. And I'm a strong believer, again, spiral of life. A lot of the buying community and just the merchants that I'd met had been at events over the course of my, not even when I was working like in the space, more so when I started as an entrepreneur. And you never know what one interaction could do in terms of opening up doors.
Without a doubt. And which is why we all have to be very careful how we behave and how we conduct ourselves in all relationships. Because
I mean, more so putting yourself out there.
I mean, well, that too, but let's be clear. So tell me, what was that moment like when tell me how you decided to go to a retailer and how you got into, let's say, like a Target? How did that happen?
Well, my first retail partnership was actually Whole Foods.
Okay.
And they believed in me while it was just an idea in my brain. Like I had met Amy Jargo. She's no longer with the organization. She was super impactful in just taking a bet. So how it became to be, so I met Amy at Indie Beauty Expo. They used to have these amazing events that just connected everyone across the space. So like indie brands, retailers, press, just kind of the full gamut. That's actually how I met Kylie from 6
Oh,
Months.
really?
Yeah, I was at one of the Beauty Independent events in 2019. So basically a million years ago. What was I saying? Okay, so I met Amy at this event and I ended up pitching via this program called ECRM. So ECRM is a platform that helps connect.
I know ECRM.
And they were doing something special for Black-owned brands where it was free. And I was like, okay, well, let me do this. And so I ended up pitching multiple retailers via a 10-minute, like very quick little pitch. And 2 regions from Whole Foods came back and were like, we love what you're doing. We want to test you. And so as I'm going through the whole negotiation, probably a month in, Amy, who I'd met at this event, she's a global buyer. So the way that Whole Foods is structured is a little bit different. They have individual regions that have buying experience or buying piggy banks that they can use to bring in local brands. And they also have a national team, which is actually really smart as you think about retail, because it allows for localized markets to take ownership and create assortments that, you know, reflect their community. So for those that are on this that are interested in getting into retail, check out your local Whole Foods regional office, because they do a lot of events. So I think I saw a brand that jumped on who just launched at Target, who we had met at one of the Whole Foods regional events.
Phenomenal.
So anyway,
okay.
I digress. So pitched them, was going to do 2 regions. Amy came back and was like, I believe in you. I don't even have prototypes. Let's go nationwide.
Wow.
And so it was a decision that I had to make, because the economic implications of launching in 2 regions, which would have been, I don't know, maybe 60 stores, 75 stores versus 500 stores, is a very different economic equation. And because I'm self-funded, every dollar matters. And you think about the economics of retail, you're giving them away 50% at minimum, right? And so I've had to think through, okay, going 75 at a better margin structure, full transparency, or going nationwide at a less favorable margin structure,
but volume,
which would make sense. And so I had the opportunity to participate in this mentoring program called Beauty United. And they had paired me with the CEO of Violet Grey, which now was recently acquired by Farfetch. And so as she was giving me kind of her thoughts and mentorship, one thing stuck out in my brain. And it was, because I don't have the budgets to spend on TV and billboards, you know, out of home, think about my retail partnerships as my footprint and my billboard. So every single person that walks through the whole body set at Whole Foods and they see the packaging, that's an impression that I otherwise would have to pay for via TV spot or, you know, these other expensive marketing levers.
And that you can generally not track whether it actually did anything.
And so it reframed my thinking around retail distribution as, okay, that is actually my marketing spend. That is going to be the engine that gets me brand awareness. And so made the decision to go nationwide. So they were my first partners. I also did the Target Takeoff program. So they have this amazing accelerator that really walks brands through how to win within their channel. And they give you access to internal leadership that you have, you know, you're building relationships with, but also learning just the rules of the road, because every retail partner has a very different way that they operate. And so it was a boot camp, we'll say, over the course of a couple of months, where, you know, we got to learn the right questions to ask as we're negotiating and really building out, you know, a successful strategy to win within that channel. But also I had the amazing opportunity to meet some really cool founders. And so we're always information sharing. We actually just did a giveaway that went live this week with some of the female founded brands that were part of the program that ended up launching. And so I think that I honestly would not be where I am. I'm not saying where I am is like, you know, presumptuous, but my community and just my fellow founders that were constantly like swapping information and intel and resources, like it has been a game changer for me. And doing pitch competitions, because that's where I've gotten money to then fund. And
so I was gonna, that was my next question, is that, okay, so now nationwide Whole Foods, which is amazing. You do Target Takeoff, you get into Target. I'm assuming Target doesn't give you a check to help you get into Target. So how do you fund these 2 major retailers? How do you do that? And then you just pitch competitions? Is that how you did it?
I am 100% self-funded. All of the money has been from pitch competitions. And so I will.
Are you comfortable sharing how much you've raised through pitch competitions?
Yeah. So I was actually talking to someone last night about this. So my first check was a pitch competition called through Canatech, which is like DCM is an investment VC fund, and they fund cannabis businesses. And so I was the only black person, or even CBD brand that pitched, and I ended up walking away with $30,000.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was, you know, my first check. Then New Voices Fund, which Sundial, when they sold to Unilever, Richard Lou Dennis, who is an amazing person, created the New Voices Foundation and Fund. And so it's really to help invest in women of color. And I was part of a pitch competition that Target and Essence did in Atlanta. And so that was $15,000. Then I think I had gotten a small check from another like cannabis, it's called Females to the Front. So I was like 2,500. Then I did another accelerator with Ease. So Ease in California, you're in California, right?
I am, yeah, Palo
Yes.
Alto.
Are you familiar with Ease then?
No.
Oh, wow.
Ease. Of
You
course
should.
I know Ease. Yes.
So
I do
Ease
know
is a
Ease.
cannabis delivery
I
service.
do know Ease.
And they had a program to help with just diversity within the cannabis space. And so because I had a CBD brand, I made me eligible. And so that was $50,000.
What?
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, so then I'm going to fast forward because I feel like I'm going into depth. So then I also did the Pull Up for Change pitch competition. That was another $50,000. Third Love is a shapewear and bra company.
Yes.
I am currently their TL Effect fellow. And actually, if we had done this live yesterday, I think the applications for this next round were due yesterday. But if there's anyone in the call who's interested, just apply.
Well, anyone who's interested, well, first of all, the message here is you can raise, it sounds like, hundreds of thousands of dollars from pitch competitions.
Okay, so I think total, it was probably like, I don't know, like 150. And then I'm also part of Coco Kind's Impact Fund right now. So that was a small check of 6,000.
Wow, fantastic. And so you have raised this amount of money and you are scaling amazingly, right?
So I think one piece of it that advice I would give for those that are thinking about retail is negotiate. I think a lot of times, and myself included, when someone wants you, you don't want to like turn them off by asking for too much, you know? And I think that we've got to flip that equation. Points?
What can you negotiate? Let's get into the details. Yes. So a retailer like X, we won't say which one, comes to you and it's like, hey, we want your products on our shelf. What are the things that you can realistically push on?
Yes, so I think the first thing would be to understand what is their margin expectation. So that will be how much they will be purchasing the product from you. The next question that I would personally ask is, what is the hurdle rate? So what is the expected weekly turns per week? So dollars per store per week, and the number of stores. Because then I can go back in the envelope and understand how much money will I actually be getting? How much will I be getting in profit? So then I can understand how much I can invest to grow that channel. So it's margin structure, number of stores, velocity expectation. Okay. Then in terms, that'll give me the number, like the actual size of the prize and how much wiggle room I have to play around within the margin. The next question I would ask is, what is their payment time frame? Because a lot of these retailers off standard are net 90, which means you ship them inventory, you're not going to get paid for 90 days. And so as you think about this cash flow, that can become a challenge, specifically if you have not raised money. So negotiating on the payment terms in terms of when they pay you. Sometimes you'll have to pay a discount to get money sooner. But if you don't have, if cash flow is an issue, I think it's worth the 1 or 2 points that they'll take. And
well, absolutely. I think because I don't know what your supply chain is like.
The other piece, freight.
Oh, freight.
Because supply chain, freight has gotten extremely expensive. So also ask, who's covering freight? Is it prepaid or collect? So those are some of the biggest levers. Also, depending on the channel, there's what's called free fill. Are you familiar with free fill?
I'm not familiar with free fill. Tell me.
So free fill is a profit engine, I guess, for them. That's typically done in grocery channel. That's kind of where it started. So it's in place of like a slotting fee, which would be a fee you would pay to be on the shelf. You give them free fill, which is free units that you ship with on basically the first PO. So essentially to stock the shelf, all of the first sales are brand funded. Yeah. The retailer's not taking any risk because they want to make sure that,
this moves.
There's a business model for this brand. And so that's also a factor because essentially you're giving them free product. And some specific channels require distributors, which means it's another mouth you're going to feed in terms of just your cost structure and P&L. I feel like I'm getting super technical here. So
no, but I think it's important. We've never gone this deep in conversations, but I think it's important, and I'm encouraging this because the audience, right? We keep these videos, they're evergreen content. We put them on our website, and it's really important for us to interview a very diverse array of founders. And the reason is because I want people to have access to real information, right? Not, oh, we grew, we did this, we're great, we're this, we're in Target, we're in that. Okay, fine, we can see that. But someone who's got a CBD brand that's interested in getting into Target now has learned, first of all, go check out Target accelerators, go check out this, go do these competitions, pitch competitions. So I think it's really important. I just learned about free fill today from you. I mean, I'm in JCPenney. We have a completely different structure, but it's really interesting. And this whole notion around distributors, I'm really not interested in doing that either. So I think it's really interesting to know what your sort of room to maneuver is.
What's interesting is because you said you're not interested in distributors, that would then limit you. So like, for example, you wouldn't be able to be in Whole Foods because they require it. But it's because, and this is also going to sound crazy, the way that Whole Foods orders is every individual store orders on a weekly basis. So imagine if you had to ship out small boxes to 500 stores a week.
That's
a small
impossible.
Brand.
Oh,
right?
that's
why. It's also just carbon footprint inefficient in terms of shipping costs. So like going through distributor, they're batching all of the demand across the hundreds of brands they carry. And so that's why you kind of have to.
Yeah. See? Learning. This is what I love. So now I want to talk about something a little different.
Okay.
Can we talk about, and I know you don't believe in the word mistake, right? So let's put it this way. Can we talk about some things that you wish you knew, before you did the thing? Like what are some, because I feel like another purpose of these conversations is to hopefully make sure that we are not repeating other people's mistakes, that we're learning from what other people do so that we can, somebody else can be wiser, right? Somebody says, I love this. It's a lot of gatekeeping and beauty. I would love to read a book about this. We'll talk about gatekeeping and beauty for a second. Thank you so much, Bougie Homebody. But hold on, let's finish this. What are some of the things that you did that you're like, man, I wish I didn't do that, but you know what? I learned.
Well, again, it's all a learning. I mean, I'm still learning. Again, full transparency, I haven't spent any money on marketing. So everything has been organic. So there's not this budget of Facebook ads and things that I'm spending on. And that's not normally how you go into retail. And hopefully my retail partners are not watching right now. But
if you're successful in just organic ways, that's fantastic. Honey.
But
nothing wrong with that.
It can't be a situation where you build it and they're going to come. So you have to invest in growth. And so I think because I've taken a very different path and I do things a little differently, like that's the whole nature of the brand. That's just been a learning for me. And this next phase is also going to be a learning because I am a team of one. Outside of my supply chain partners, there's no one else. So like if someone is sending a DM on Instagram, it's me.
That was me up until last month.
So I'm trying to change that.
I just hired the first person.
It's hard to like unlearn some of these behaviors. And I was actually having a conversation with someone 2 days ago where, I mentioned how I'm a team of one and they're like, oh, that's so amazing. I'm so proud of you. And I was like, actually, no. Let's change that dialogue and that narrative, because if I take it as a badge of honor, I'm never going to change.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to unlearn and undefine some mental blocks as well as I think about growth and scaling as an entrepreneur.
So that's great. Thank you for sharing that. I'll share, when I first started this company, I always tell people my background, I was an investment banker. And I worked for the type of firms that you didn't really need to do marketing for, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, those types. So I had zero marketing bones in my body. And I was incredibly insecure. I was really excited about starting this brand. I was like, listen, we're going to make a beauty company focused on cosmetics naturally, but really targeting women who self-identify as ambitious. And we're going to create content. We're going to create products that so when I saw your packaging, I was like, I love this woman because our packaging is the same. It's like there are messages in that, lots of empowering messages, elevating messages, amplification, all about you're amazing and we want you to be successful. But I didn't know how I was going to start to tell that story. And I was so petrified. So the first thing I did, and I love to share this as a mistake, is I went and hired an incredibly expensive person who had worked at L'Oreal. And luckily,
as like an employee?
So she wasn't an employee. She was doing it as a side hustle, which was great because after a few months, I realized that this was a very bad idea, and ended that. We have a great relationship personally, and she's a phenomenal human being. But I think that anything that you do out of fear, anything that you do out of insecurity is never good. And one thing I
Absolutely.
always tell people about that mistake, failure, whatever you want to call it, is believe in yourself. When you have an idea, the thing, because people used to say to me, why are you going to start a lipstick company? Like there's a million lipstick companies. I'm like, yeah, but there's only one Aisha Fatima Dozier.
Yes.
And so when I bring her to the brand, to the product, to the experience, to the interface, it is completely unique. I didn't have that confidence until I kind of got into things. And I was like, you know what? Believe in yourself. Even if you make mistakes, even if you figure it as you go along, believe in yourself. But at the beginning, honestly, I was insecure. I didn't believe in myself.
But you should. And I think it's the imposter syndrome that we all face
Yeah.
that can kill you. We're our
Yeah.
own worst enemies.
Yeah.
I mentor other entrepreneurs that are up and coming, and one big thing I always tell them is you have to just jump off the cliff and build your wings on the way down, because
Yes.
we are going to tell ourselves no, because it's the analysis paralysis, the fear of failure. It's sometimes the fear of success as well.
Yeah.
And so I've always taken the mindset that I'll put something out there. If it doesn't work, I will pivot and I will
exactly evolve. You move it. Like the
no harm, no foul.
thing final is death. As far as you're alive, keep it moving. Like you have the opportunity. And I think this is, so many of us are paralyzed by fear. And I love the fact that you brought up imposter syndrome, right? We just keep telling ourselves, I don't want to fail at this. I don't want to fail at this. And I think a lot of it has to do with our desire for third-party validation. Even though we don't admit to it, a lot of us are like, well, what will Dorian think? What will this person think? What will my mom, my sister, my brother, my friends? And you know what? Just go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Someone says yes for mentorship. Yes.
Well, to that point, I think I still, think about acceptance. Because let's be real here. There's some businesses out there doing some corny stuff, but making money, like printing money. Because they're not, I think too, as a founder, it's like you're so interwoven in the brand, and like you are the brand is you. And sometimes you have to decouple that.
Yes. I think, you're right. Most times you have to, somebody says guilty for external validation. All of us are. All of us are. All of us are. We all don't realize how much we care about what other people think about our behaviors, our actions, our successes, our lack of successes, all of that stuff. But so let's talk a little bit about gatekeeping. Somebody mentioned it just now, and I don't have a strong view on it. I hear people who are not in beauty maybe say that they feel like there's gatekeeping, but my experience has been vastly different. I have developed the most amazing relationships with fellow founders, many of whom I just DM, right? Because all of us are the ones controlling our own Instagrams, right? And I'll just DM and say, hey, love your product. I'm doing a Bossy chat. Or, hey, do you have time to talk about how you manage this issue, supply chain, all of that stuff? So I haven't seen gatekeeping as an issue. If anything, I've seen such a great sense of camaraderie, particularly around Black women, white women, Asian women. I've seen this consistently. Do you have a different perspective on this?
No, I agree. I think that there is, from my experience, been a lot of collaboration over competition. And for those that I get spidey senses about that are not about that, that just means they're not going to be part of my inner circle. And that's fine. And I actually think from a gatekeeping standpoint, it's the opposite now, because the barriers to entry are a lot lower to like launch a brand. Because you have these private labelers, you have the internet and things like Shopify. So like it's a lot easier than it has historically been. So there's actually less gatekeeping, and some of these retailers that have historically been gatekeepers are understanding that, hey, people can go directly to the person side, to the brand side,
to the
or
customer.
Amazon. So like the gatekeeping and that mindset is definitely shifting. I think the brands from a retail standpoint that are going to be the most successful are the ones that recognize that and are building, not scared of it, embracing it, and thinking about how their digital presence will impact just how they can work together to build more experiences. So.
Absolutely. You mentioned something I wanted to talk about, Amazon. Are we doing good for time? Are you okay for time?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So, are you on Amazon?
I am not. Although, I forgot to mention, Amazon did give me some money. So I received some money from their Black Accelerator program. I'm not currently on Amazon, but Amazon owns Whole Foods. So Whole Foods is on Amazon.
That's
They are
right.
Amazon.
I need to call Amazon and be like, you guys are writing checks. Where's my check? Hello. So I am on Amazon.
Closed mouths don't get fed. Yes, please. As soon as we get off this,
I know, right?
I heard you got some money.
Checks. I need the checks. So I am on Amazon, and I do want to say that it is such a way. So you talked about democratizing beauty, and I want to talk about democratizing commerce, particularly for women of color. Like if you have I'm on Amazon and have been, I want to say almost a year. We got on there June of last year. And it's such an the barrier is so low.
Interesting. I would actually say the opposite.
Oh, well, I found the barrier super low to get on Amazon. You don't have to fulfill that
versus turn and make volume on Amazon.
So that's a different thing entirely. So that's where I was going. The bar is low to get on Amazon, but to be successful on Amazon, you got to work. But but here's the thing with networking, and here's my other thing that I love, and I don't know if you do this, podcasts. I love listening to podcasts. So I listen to podcasts of e-commerce founders, and a lot of e-commerce founders who have had success on Amazon share like the optimization of their listings, their descriptions, all of that stuff, how they advertise, create a storefront. We have had significant success on Amazon, I would say, in the last 6 to 8 months. Huge. Amazon is one of our largest channels now.
Are you using an agency to kind of manage all of the ad? Oh, so a lot of the feedback I've gotten is that it's very difficult to black box, and it's expensive to get the algorithm to work in your favor to then raise to the top to actually get, conversion. And so the two paths that people take will either use an agency, which a lot of times they take a flat fee and a percentage, so it could be cost prohibitive, or there are some kind of, I guess we'll call them distributors, that just buy the inventory like a traditional retail channel and will sell via Amazon. And so you have that Amazon exposure, but you don't have any of the management risk.
Either of those things. I manage so I have 2 Amazon type businesses. I have Fulfilled by Amazon, where I send to their warehouse. Yeah. So they do the fulfillment. And then I have some product. And the reason I do that because it's easy for me. But a lot of my products are actually fulfilled by my own fulfillment team. And the reason I do that is that when you order like a tiny lipstick like this, Amazon can send it in a box the size of my office. Yeah. Right. And it's such an impersonal user experience, even though a lot of customers just have come to accept it. So a lot of my products I fulfill directly.
But do you use Prime though? Like, do you have the Prime functionality? Oh, interesting. Yes. When I did the economics between my warehouse fulfilling versus Fulfilled by Amazon, it was way cheaper to have Fulfilled by Amazon do it.
So it is cheaper to fulfill by Amazon, but here's the thing: you have hundreds of millions of people. Yeah, you have hundreds of millions of people. So I do ad spend on Amazon. And I play around. I just learn. I wouldn't say that our business has grown because of ad spend, but we also use social media. So I'll post on Instagram that we're on Amazon. In our newsletter, I'll share. We have an Amazon storefront, amazon.com/Bossy Cosmetics. So
so you're investing in driving traffic there.
So I'm investing in looking at my business, as you said, an omni-channel business. I'm doing that as well. And I'm seeing Amazon as an increasingly large channel. So I invest in that.
Very intrigued.
I invest in my own website, right? So, and a lot of if you go to the amazon.com/Bossy Cosmetics, it's very similar to our website. So you will feel that you are in a consistent place, right? So I really want people, if you're buying a chocolate bar, or if you're buying Tide to wash clothes in your house and you want to buy some lipsticks, you can do it that way. Or if you really want to be focused on a very centralized experience, you can come to our website. And then we're also on JCPenney. So that's kind of the way that I think about it, is really, meeting our customer where she is. And also, like you said, to be affordable, right? Our most expensive product right now is $25. And we want to be, because really, if you're saying that you're trying to approach women who identify as ambitious, you want all women to be in that category. So
absolutely. Well, I love that. I love what you're building. So much synergies.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? And like you, I'm sure I'm just learning as I go along. Like, how's this going? We did QVC. I think I've done 3 QVC hits so far. So I'm just learning as I'm going along as well. And I think that's
and then you're sharing that out, and that's the important part too.
Absolutely. And that's what these chats are about. These chats are about, first of all, there is no gatekeeping, right? Anybody can come up on the IG Live. It lives up on our website and on IG. Drop any questions, guys, if you have. and let's share the mistakes, let's share the successes, and let's literally democratize access to entrepreneurship.
I can't see comments if there's comments. If there was specific questions, because I know we're
now
probably...
I got as I'm trying my best to keep asking them as they come. Love Undefined Beauty chocolate bars. Please bring those to. It says, I think that's Whole Foods. Maybe I think it's Whole Foods.
I actually can't see on my end any of the comments, which is super weird. I'm not sure why.
Okay, so he or she Curl Rebel loves Undefined Beauty chocolate bars. Please bring them to Whole Foods.
Well, I'm trying.
Is that going to happen?
We'll see. I don't know. I'm actually working on another ingestible product on the R&R line that I'm super excited about. I don't have, it's not calendarized quite yet, but essentially it is a fruit-forward bite that is adaptogen infused, but accessible. Some amazing ingredients like tremella mushroom, which is nature's hyaluronic acid, sea moss, which is an amazing mineral with
hyaluronic acid. So tell me, I use it in all of my facial products have hyaluronic acid. So tell me about
hyaluronic acid is it's a plumper. So it helps from a topical standpoint. It's a humectant that allows for moisture to be pulled from the air into your skin to plump. But also ingestibly, tremella is a natural collagen sort of experience in terms of building the building blocks internally. Sea moss is an amazing mineral-rich kind of MVP ingredient. Ashwagandha, which is one I mentioned earlier.
Someone just said, yes, sea moss. Yes, sea moss.
Well, so sea moss, maybe I'm late to the sea moss game. I discovered sea moss last year from a friend, but from a texture standpoint, it's gelatinous and like just not something that I would incorporate.
So are you making gummies or what?
But I want to help elevate this ingredient, but in a understandable, functional way. And so it's like a fruit snack, like a modern day fruit snack, but that's functional in nature and that'll help you just relax and chill, but also give you ingestible beauty benefits.
I love. Okay, I'm asking tons of questions, but that's the purpose of this chat. Yeah. How do you approach new product development? Like how do you decide, sea moss, or how do you decide, here's the thing, and do I want to put it topically? Do I want it to be ingestible? How do I want to incorporate this into a beauty regimen? How do you go through that process?
Yeah, so I listen to Mother Nature. So I'm kind of a nerdy person who likes to learn about plants and different technologies and innovation that's happening. And then I'll think about, okay, what is a need state that I can pair with that plant? And so everything that I do is a problem solution oriented. So it has to be solving something from a need state standpoint. And so once I have kind of a cool ingredient and a need state and I can pair them together like a matchmaker, then I'll start the process of ideating with my manufacturer. So I'm not in my kitchen like mixing things up. No, I have.
Well, I imagine at that scale you're not.
Well, I mean, in the beginning though, I did do some filling and labeling and boxing. And thank you to all my friends that might be on this chat right now that have helped me. We were definitely,
it takes
fun
a village.
Experience.
It takes a village.
Yes, I think there's a lot of these steps going back to the beginning of our conversation that no one talks about. Like, it's not all glamorous. Like, literally, my fingers.
It's mostly not glamorous. Whenever I post, I'm like, guys, I'm only wearing makeup because I'm doing an IG live. Otherwise, my hair would be in a bonnet. There would be absolutely no makeup. I'd be in a t-shirt and sweats, and I'd be at my laptop all day. That's if there's nothing glamorous here.
Yeah, I mean, and not to derail the story, but it goes back to a previous question. I launched Undefined with 1 month's notice. So I've been working on the concepts, and it was going to be this whole collection of cannabis infused products. And I went to Cosmoprof, which is a big, beauty trade show.
Cosmoprof. Which one did you go to?
Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, so not Bologna, not the fancy one. I went to Vegas in the summer where it's like 120 degrees. And so I meet up with, again, Richard Lou Dennis, my old boss at Sundial, because Shea Moisture had a big activation there. And, we're up late drinking in the casino, and I'm giving an update on the business. And I told him how, some of the formulas aren't finalized yet. He's like, Dorian, I told about this opportunity at Indie Beauty Expo, and he's like, launch. No matter what, you're going to learn something. And so that put the fire under my feet. As soon as I got home from Vegas, I contacted Indie Beauty Expo. They had 1 booth left. and it was like the last booth in the corner of the very back of the end of the show. And so the universe had my back. I, secured the booth, worked fast and furiously to concept out the packaging. My contract manufacturer, there's not time to get on the production line, but they believed in me and like, okay, Dorian, what we can do is we'll do a run of bulk. And I had to pick up literally 25 gallons of bulk, hand filled those into bottles, hand labeled them, put them into boxes.
My word. The glory days, huh?
And then build out all the, other marketing materials and whatnot. So it was definitely a just-in-time sort of thing, but I launched.
And how was that experience at Indie Beauty Expo? Please tell me. I've never been.
Loved it. So rest in peace, Indie Beauty Expos. They don't do the events anymore because they were such amazing just platforms to connect with other founders. Like I remember like some of my founder friends now, I had met them at their booth in 2018, 2019.
Oh, wow.
Like B from Honeypot, like who's amazing and killing it and like natural feminine care space. She had a booth and we had met and she gave me some free products and like we became friends. So they were a great opportunity. They were expensive. So like the booth itself was $3,000. So like, yeah, but it was a great investment. Okay. If I would go back in time, I still would have done it. It wasn't like, a huge sales driver, but it was validating that there was demand for this concept, even though the concept has evolved. And coming out of the show, I was actually voted as one of the consumer favorites, which
I love.
That was like,
okay, we're going to have to do a non-IG live and you're going to have to teach me how to pitch because clearly you are the pitch queen, for God's sake. I mean,
I like free money.
But not all of us get it. I avoid pitch competitions because I think I just saw Christina on this and she's the founder of 54 Thrones, another brand that we have.
Love 54 Thrones.
Yeah.
I wish I could see the comments. I don't know if I did something wrong on my end.
Killed it. I don't know if she's still here. But I watched her on Shark Tank. Ooh,
she did a great job.
Killed. She kills it all the time. And I feel like y'all are a special breed who know how to stand in front of a bunch of people and pitch yourselves. I can't do it.
I think it's different than when there's people around. Now that we're in this like virtual, it feels like it's a one-to-one, even though it could be one to, lots.
Yeah.
And same thing also. When you went on, you're on air with QVC, was in studio or was it virtually?
No, it was virtually.
Okay. See, that's so much easier.
So if it was in studio, I think I would have fainted. I was at home and I probably almost peed on myself because I was petrified. So by the time I think I've done it 3 or 4 times, so I'm much more used to it. But the first time, literally, I was like, I think I'm going to pee on myself. I'm so scared.
I was just tired. I'm not an early riser. Like, I'll be very transparent. Like, I don't use an alarm. I just wake up when I wake up. And because my show was at 7 a.m., I had a call time of 5:30 a.m. And I strategically got braids because I'm like, I don't want to get up early. I just want to wake up and be like.
My second QVC show was at 4. I think it was at the same thing. I was up at 4 a.m.
Yeah. So
it's not funny.
And I didn't go to bed until probably midnight because I went to some event that I probably should not have gone to, but it was so much fun. So I sacrificed my youthfulness.
You did it. You did it. I'm sure it was a success. I'm sure it was amazing. So that has gone by, and now we move on to the next. Anything you want to talk about before we wrap up? We've got 6 minutes left. I like to keep this at a sharp hour. This has been amazing talking to you, getting to know you. I'm looking forward to just like watching your meteoric rise continue.
Thank you. I think my headphones are dying. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, okay, perfect.
People of Color Beauty is sending you some love. She's also a founder.
I'm sorry I can't see any of the comments.
Hi, Jackie. Anything you want to share with us? I mean, this has been a really fantastic discussion. I'm so excited at your growth and what you're doing. I love to learn more about the CBD space.
But I'm not a CBD brand though. I'm a plant magic brand.
Oh,
so
sorry.
The mushrooms is actually where I'm placing all of my developmental focus. Although I still believe in the power of CBD, all of my innovation is going to be on the non-CBD adaptogenic mushroom side.
So let me ask you a quick question then about mushrooms, because mushrooms, when I hear mushrooms, I think about getting high. right? And
Oh,
I
like
think
psychedelic mushrooms, like psilocybin.
yes, right? And I think there's a connotation to that. Will you do a lot of education around what, the effect this will have on you when you
Yeah.
consume?
So my goal is actually to do a website refresh. So my current website, I shifted to Shopify with the launch of R&R, and I built the website myself.
Same here.
So it's due for like an upgrade and professional help, and I do want to build out education around kind of the ingredients that are in the products, on both sides of the business. So both the CBD collection and the mushroom collection. The tricky thing though is that adaptogens adapt to what you need. So,
Okay.
how the experience, there are some, guardrails on what these beautiful mushrooms can do. And a lot of times they do a lot of things too. So I also don't think there's benefit in saying, here's this long scroll list of like, it does everything underneath the sun. And so there has to be some level of curation of content that has to happen. But I do want to, build that out.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Dorian,
and then in terms of, I do want to say my last message.
Please go ahead.
Undefined is now expanding into retail, like we talked about. So make sure on your next trip to Whole Foods, check me out there. Or I just launched within 450 vitamin shops.
Woo!
So if you are there picking up your pills and your potions, walk on over to the skincare aisle and you'll see my product. Target, another amazing partner. So when you're doing your Target run, swing on over to the natural skincare section. So I'm in the natural section, next to like Shea Moisture
at Target.
And
how many Target stores are you in?
How many what?
How many Target stores are you in?
About 285.
Love it.
On my website, there's a store locator, so you can punch in your zip code, and it'll tell you all the closest.
All right, what's
Whole
your website
Foods,
address?
Target,
tell me so I can type it in. What's your website address?
Undefinedco.com.
So I'm typing it in right now. Undefinedco.com.
Yes. And actually, if you are going to Target between now and April 4th, all of my products are 15% off. So we're doing a little special sale at shelf. So when you're in store, it's 15% off. Or if you do same day delivery on Target.com.
Okay, so someone says, please share the website, NADMAX2. I just shared the website. Check it up there, undefinedco.com. I shared it. So Target, you're 15% off. Can I get that on Target.com as well?
So if you order Target.com same day delivery, you can get the discount. Yeah, it's kind of an incentive, what's called, I think, a TPR. So like a temporary price reduction, as we're talking about retail terminology.
I know, man. I'm learning.
Give, a more incentive to try me because I am, although I'm priced under $30, I am high price point for Target, which is reframe it. Pretend like you're walking in Sephora. I'd be like the cheapest brand on shelf.
I know, right?
Basically the same performing ingredients, if not better. So.
Love it.
I know I'm off my soapbox.
No, that's the whole point. Be on your soapbox. Don't get off.
That's and actually, because I can't see comments, but I would love if there's anyone that's listening that's in the comments, where should Undefined launch next? I would love to know if anyone has. Oh, okay. And you tell me too. Yes. Where would you like to see Undefined? Where do I have a right to win?
Ulta Beauty and Sephora. Why not?
Those are both great.
The size is worth the price. Rose all day style. Thank you.
No.
Ulta Beauty and Sephora. Tell me, why not? Let's go.
I think those are great. I think those are great channels. I don't have a beauty destination partner yet, so that could be interesting.
I know. So let's put that. I'd love to be in either or both of those. So why don't we put
we're going to manifest it.
Let's manifest it. Let's manifest it.
Today is a new moon. It is a powerful time to manifest.
First day of the month. Savannah Rose says definitely Ulta. Rose All Day Style says Ulta.
Okay.
Agreed. Ulta. So shall I manifest Ulta for you, Sephora for me, or both for us? What should we do?
We're both for both.
Oh, both for both. Okay, there we go. It's gonna happen. And then
because it is a new moon though, make sure from a manifestation standpoint, write down everything in this next moon cycle, so about a month, that you want to bring into your life. This is a powerful time.
Now, can I write with a pencil that says live with passion, or should I write with a pen?
Yes. No. You are living with passion.
All day, every day. And I'm going to put it on a Post-it, and I'm going to say manifesting Ulta and Sephora. Yes. There we go. One
We
more
can talk
thing to
offline
say?
though. I was gonna say I have some ideas for you. We can talk offline about that stuff.
I love ideas. Definitely want ideas.
Well, Ulta's actually investing a lot in building out they signed the 15% pledge. They are growing their diverse brand sub-segments.
Yep.
They also just inked a deal with New Voices, which New Voices is going to help invest. So
awesome.
You know, I'm all about don't talk about it, be about it. And
that's it. Next time we talk about this, it's going to be announcements. That's what's going to happen. Dorian, so great to meet you.
Nice
so
to
great
meet you
to
as
chat
well.
with you. I wish you all the best as you continue to build your phenomenal brand, scale it, and grow. Thank you so much for being a guest on Bossy Chats. It was an honor and a privilege to have you.
Same here, and have a beautiful weekend.
You too. Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Love welcoming folks on here. Thank you so much. Bye.